While I'm not caught up fully, from everything that I've heard, this last arc is one of the better arcs in the entire run. So for it to be consistently good and still, like, surpassing itself to a degree, for 25 years, is nigh unheard of.
Staying in the realm of manga, sometimes we'd like to really look ahead, and this is really looking ahead. One Piece is getting ready for its final saga, which you said that it still means it's going to be like 4 years away. Like,
look, I'm gonna keep it a $150 with you. I'm gonna talk about
One
the
Piece
context.
has been ending since '97.
Nigga, no. Okay, look. So I'm gonna give some context here after I talk about the story in general. So, for those who, and I'm gonna try and keep this. For the most recent arc, I'm gonna try my best not to spoil anything in regards to that arc. JJ, I know you're not there yet, or are you actually?
I'm on Whole Cake Island.
See my favorite character cry a lot. Nigga, he goes through it. I'm like, thank you, Oda. But they no, One Piece does not need to end
ever.
No.
Like Ramen, I don't know if you've watched or you're
One
a fan,
Piece is the Undertaker of manga.
but I don't.
It needs to keep wrestling every WrestleMania.
To me, it's a story
It's
that
Motley Crue going on their 10th retirement tour.
So I'll get. Oh, trust me, guys. I'll get into all of these things. Keep dropping your comments there. But essentially, with One Piece, I don't know why y'all assume. I gotta defend. I can't even get on with my train of thought. Just because something is long does not mean it's bad.
Right.
Like One Piece is a great example of a story that. Say what you want. Of course, it has ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
But you can never say he's not painting the story that he wants to and is being allowed to actually paint this fantasy epic. Instead of, if you really want to think about it, yes, it's been going on for 25 years. But when you think about stories with multiple sequels, right? He's just so you're just imagine somebody who's taking what would normally be contained in a long series of books where you get one every few years, and he has to do it on a weekly basis.
One Piece is older than Josh Man Forever.
Hey, man, good. It means it's wiser than you too.
Case closed needs to end too. No.
Okay, so there's a key difference with those two. Case closed has a plot line that should not be going on.
Right, yeah,
Let's be real here. That shit should have been solved, and you could have the adventure still be adult.
My brother is still into Case Closed, and I asked him, like, isn't Conan, like, at this point already just, like, aging normally? And he's like, yeah. He already confessed to the girl and told her, like, I'm not Conan. I'm your dude. But I got turned into a kid. And she's like, oh, Conan, you so silly.
But no, I mean, you say it needs to end, but I say that it ends whenever the story is justified for it ending, if that makes sense.
Would you rather that he kind of plans the ending or that he ends up like the Berserk writer?
Dude, no, I mean, before I dive into
at this
weeds
point,
here, yeah.
Everyone's been worried about this.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
He's planned ahead of this.
Okay.
Like,
He had. Oh no! I've always said that if there's one nigga in Japan who they have a cloning chamber for, it's Ichiro Oda, because Japan runs on One Piece, plain and simple.
But yeah, there's been voice actors in the anime in Japan that have died, and they've had to replace them because. Since One Piece has been around for so long, sometimes they'll introduce a minor character in like one of the early chapters, and then only for him to become a major part of the plot like further down the line. So it's like, oh, we need to bring back the same actor that we had. Who was it? He's dead now. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. But you know,
even the voice of Luffy, like his voice actress has been like, I just hope I make it.
yes, that's
Well,
a
because
tougher
if the
one.
manga's ending and you're saying it's still a little bit of time, that means the anime is going to have like 6 years on top of that to catch up or something.
Oh,
like
that was gonna happen no matter what. They've got episodes forever. But, the reason why I say, just to end that point, and then actually give context to, the ending aspect, to me, the quality of the story has maintained pretty strong.
Yeah.
Honestly, and for those who have read this arc and or watched this arc, to me, this is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Whoa, time out, just real quick. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt too much, but I saw season 1 of Tokyo Avengers. That's not a story that has a lot of...
It's not even... I don't know where it is right now.
Sorry, but like somebody was like, Tokyo Avengers needs to end. I'm like, they found a way to keep that going?
I don't know where the story is at the moment. I'm actually not caught up with Tokyo Avengers at the time. But I think it's a situation to where this happens with manga quite a bit. There's sometimes where you're like, okay, how are they going to extend this out?
But it's literally solving one crime.
I don't want to spoil too much for you because I am farther than you are. But much like so when you think of a story like Tokyo Avengers where there's that one line, right?
Yeah.
And you think of a story like One Piece where honestly, if Oda wanted to, he could say, fuck, think about it this way. We spent all this time on the Grand Line, you know what that is. If you watch One Piece, each of the 4 seas ain't talked about and actually been seen outside of the East Blue, right? He could literally go say, fuck it, let's go into each one of these seas if he really wanted to extend it like past the... And don't get it twisted. Once Oda's gone and Japan is like, cool, we are going to defile this grave for that money because there's a lot of options coming from there. But I'm more in the camp that like I said, it's a harsh and cutthroat like area when it comes to shonen, and I'd rather an author actually write out the story that they intend to plan out and have the time to do it. And dude, 25 years, there's a reason why it maintains and reigns at the top. Not just from longevity, from just sheer actual story perspective. And he's just painting, like I said, a fantasy epic that he's doing over a long period of time. You wouldn't be none the wiser if it were when did the original first Game of Thrones come out?
The book or the movie?
Yeah, the book.
Oh, the book was actually like in the 90s, I think. The first book. And then... when it comes to the first season, that was 2011. No, 2011.
Game of Thrones.
Maybe 2012.
Books in order. Now, before I start getting caught up in, 1996. And they haven't finished the story there, right?
Right, yeah, that one's still going.
It's just still going. It's literally just people... I get the perspective of like, it's going on for 25 years. Dude, it's a story. That's what they do. It just happens that they also have an anime that that unleash, and I don't know what you're on. See, I can't ride with you when you say Luffy. No, Luffy's arc is fine. Like, let's close it out as natural as it can, and then I don't want shit after that. Actually, if they do expansions and little variables, that's cool. I actually think the side story that they did in the manga was because it was done by Dr. Stone's mangaka, his artist. I think that shit was dope, and so I'm fine with some of those catered and small stories, but I don't think it's an area that needs to be milked out, so long as, they close out the story with Luffy as intended. And, if they decide, hey, if he decides, they wrap up Luffy's stuff and they want like a little aftermath just to make sure he covers all the bases, that's also cool too. That said, taking a couple steps back, we've heard One Piece is ending and or close to the end for like 5 times at this point. Like, so
they are Motley Crue, and this is our last tour.
Well, they ask him periodically, and every time he does up like the percentage. Like in 2015, he was like, I think I'm 50% there, and then in 2019, he was like, I think I'm 80% there. So in 2019, he said he had about like 5 more years worth of One Piece to go.
Yeah.
So we're around that time, but that was before COVID. COVID might have fucked up everything and pushed his plans up a few years.
And I also, like, because Oda said that, if he had to predict, it'd be 2024, 2025. Now, I'm going to keep it $150 with you. And the reason why I'm like, probably not going to happen. Hey, with the saga, there's a lot of different definitions for that, right? And typically a saga is a lot of arcs.
Yeah. The Frieza saga is everything from when they take off from Earth and get to Namek.
And conclude that too. So all of that is one saga. Now in One Piece, I actually when we think about the last saga that was there, and if I'm not mistaken, it should be the Yonko saga, but let me check. Latest One Piece saga. Then, let me make sure. Cool. Because I want to make sure that I'm doing this one correctly. But essentially, there's a lot of different definitions that you can come into play with the saga per se. So there's no clear cut answer with it. But okay, cool. So the Four Emperor saga, right, which was from Zou, Whole Cake Island, Reverie, and Wano. Whole Cake Island was like a yearish. Wano has been going on since like 2020.
Yeah, like before COVID, I want to say.
That's 2 mega arcs, and trust me, Oda ain't finishing this last arc in just a year. Y'all must be tripping. Oda ain't finished. So I would say that even if he had 2 really big arcs and was like, cool, that's it. That's what I want. 2 really big arcs. You're looking at like a 3 to 4 year minimum. If you have 1 arc that's a year, which would
makes this tweet more confusing when he's like, "Oh, I just need a month to figure out how."
No, I mean, because motherfucker doesn't take time off.
They don't take breaks. He don't take breaks.
The last time he had a month off was back in 2010, which was before he led into one of the mega parts of One Piece, and yeah, that was 2010 when he had a month off. So if you want to go off by month off standards, well, shit, sure. He said, he's like, last time I took a month off, we had another 10 years of 12 years of One Piece before I took another month off. So, yeah, I mean, I'll take it with a grain of salt in terms
2034, guys.
Whole Cake by itself was
it was near 80 chapters. 80 chapters is 80 weeks. 80 weeks.
That's almost 2 years.
Yeah, that's almost 2. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so there's a couple of so in terms of what they could do for One Piece, right? There's so many plot points that have not been wrapped up. That to wrap them up to a level of typical satisfaction that Oda could bring would not be wrapped up in like a year or 2. There was I will fine if this is incorrect, you can find me, hunt me down. He's not wrapping it up in a year. No way possible. Not wrapping it up in 2. Not possible. At the minimum. At the minimum. 3, and that would still fit into his predictions. But I've always said, like, he's got 4 to 5. Because the other part about it is, if you're thinking about it, you best believe before those last few, like that real last arc, he's gonna have another bit of time off for sure. They're going to give him as much time as he needs to close out the story. And, when you think about it from just like, when you think about it from the perspective of just understanding how Oda has been writing for a while, understanding how he typically does his timing for his arcs, understanding all that goes into the stories, I'm just like, yeah, it's going to its final saga, which is cool. If you've read up to the point in this manga, it makes sense for him to say that, kind of. Going into like actual One Piece stuff, someone actually pointed it out. Yes, I think that if we're I'm actually gonna do a video about this, but separately somewhere else. But if you want to know where I think it's going to next, I'm actually in agreement with you. I that's the arc that I would naturally want to go into. That's what I want. The Elbaf arc would be cool. Right, yeah. Mainly because they've talked about it. It is something that Oda has alluded to. There's a lot to go with that race that's there that they have not talked about. There's out of all the, there's a bunch of races in One Piece they don't give shit on. That's one of the ones that you see a bunch and they still haven't explained shit, right? So I like the Elbaf, Elbaf itself, he's definitely going to give at least a year or 2. Like you think about, the last war, the real battles that they still have to come across. For sure, gonna give more time than what he gave in Wano. And so there's a lot of levers that they can pull, like that he can pull in terms of making the story correct. And I think that he's like thinking about the cleanest way to do that, while also making sure that he's not just kind of extending time for time's sake as well. Yeah. Because I think that that's one thing he probably has in the back of his mind too. No, like thinking about the way that Oda like kind of positions the story, and just and from his interviews and whatnot, I feel like I can't tell him. I don't know the nigga in person, but I feel like he's also the type who's like, hey man, I want the voice actors for the crew in particular to be around when I close out.
I
the
do
story.
feel when you're watching this for 25 years, you do have a little bit more intimate knowledge of the work, like the way that people feel close. So it's like, oh, I feel this close to this writer that did this run of Green Lantern or Spider-Man for 10 years. Like you just kind of feel a little bit close, and you see the gears working towards how the story is going to go, and you have more data to pull from than even people that say that.
Dude, I don't think y'all quite understand how much I'm into this fucking piece, this nigga with the straw hat. I literally, like, I am definitely in the weeds with all the stuff with One Piece. I'm on the Reddits, I'm on all those kinds of things. And so that's why I'm saying, like, you know, if I had to give my personal gut estimate, that's where I'm like, I still think it could be like 2025, if at the lightest guess. Maybe. But I mean, JJ, from where you're at, from the knowledge you know, you're not even like, just to put in perspective, where JJ's at is technically just including your arc. I mean, if we would act like you've already watched all your arc, he's like literally one arc away.
Yeah.
One arc away. He's got a little mini one in between.
I'm very close to running out of One Piece. That's never happened to me before.
And from your point of view, does it even feel like it's close to ending?
No.
It's like, has there been any indication that this story is close to ending?
The closest it's come to like indicating that we're nearing the end was when the red poneglyphs were introduced, and I was like,
real poneglyphs, yeah.
Okay, so there's this many of them. That's not a lot.
How you acquire them? Not so much,
Right?
Do I think that, I don't want to get into a review of this arc. There are some things I like. There are definitely some things that I didn't, but I think overall, like from a pound for pound perspective, it gives you things that have not been in place in One Piece in a hot minute. I don't want to spoil too much for you, but the Straw Hats get proper fights for some who definitely haven't had in a minute, alongside the ones you'd expect. And then also, like, the story that he builds up. To me, Oda's already are positioned more questions than answers in this arc too. So he literally ended up, like, there's some shit, and he ended a fight with questions. I said, nigga, how you gonna do this? I have questions. A lot of the if you're in Wano, like the main matchups for this, that just opened up the door for more questions. So yeah, if he wants to comfortably close out the story, it's either he's gonna be fucking splam jamming a bunch of info dumping for the fun of it, which I'm also okay with, because quite frankly, Oda, I want some answers. I want some answers now. But other than that, I just feel like, like I said, giving it 2 to 4. I know that where you're at, and you're close to where we're at, it doesn't feel like it's close to ending. He says it's ending, and it doesn't feel like it's close to ending. It feels and I also don't like to think about that ending of One Piece, because it
makes me sad.
No, I mean, dude, it's literally been there for years of
It's
my life.
bittersweet in the sense that I don't think we're gonna get another story like this.
Ever.
Oh, for sure. No,
Something
never.
that's been this consistently good for this
Oh,
long.
no. I was about to say, like, maybe The Simpsons, but no.
Right? No, yeah, because that's my go-to as well. Like,
Yeah.
The Simpsons is as old as I am, but it hasn't been good.
No, not the entire time. That's what, when you said good, I changed it, where I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
no.
never mind.
Because while I'm not caught up fully from everything that I've heard, this last arc is one of the better arcs in the entire run. So for it to be consistently good and still, like, surpassing itself to a degree, for 25 years is nigh unheard of.
No, I mean, it is. How do I describe it? It's when people, and actually, the reason why I even frame it like this is because some newer YouTuber. Shut up with this Doctor Who. Some newer YouTubers,
Yeah,
who have
10th
started.
Doctor, best Doctor. Everything else is a mistake. Go on.
Thank you. You're not wrong. But no. Like every there's some YouTubers who've entered the space who are into One Piece are actually fantasy reviewers. like in American literature, aficionados. And, they'll be the first ones to tell you now that they've had an opportunity, because they've been always like, manga, gonna keep my essence away.
Yeah.
But if you watch their videos, they equate it to the fantasy greats that you have in your mind, the ones that leave that impression in your mind. Because at the end of the day, manga is a story. It is a book that it's a medium that has that is visual at the forefront, but is still a literary medium. Yeah, for a book series to have this pertinent to, like, say what you will, even if you don't like One Piece, you still can't fight the fact it's fucking popular as shit, and that it's been carrying itself on this much at this level.
I don't think there's honestly people that dislike One Piece. I think there's you love One Piece or you haven't seen it. Like, I don't know anyone that...
I mean, I don't want to say no one. I know there's people who, like, it's not for them. But if it's not for you, you probably didn't watch 500 episodes. Which means you didn't get to the good part. That is my favorite meme. Because I really did... Like, I'm not even kidding you. The last person I put on One Piece, I was like, look, I loved One Piece from jump, but... if I had to say where I hit the switch, it was always going to be Water 7, right? Water 7 is when,
like,
when One Piece goes from, this is pretty good, to, yeah, I want to live, nigga. But, you know what I mean? But, whenever you get to Water 7, that's like episode, like, that's in the late 200s, early 300s.
Yeah, it's in the...
You have to go through 300 something to get, and I had a friend, I told him, keep going, because he was like, man, I'm really not digging it. Keep going, niggas on whole cake now. Ha! He was not about it. He said, I hate it. Hate One Piece. I don't understand. Got to the time skip. He was like, give me more of that One Piece goodness. For him, he's just like, man, he's on, like I said, he's on where you're at. He started this year. Yes. Damn. Actually, no, he started in December. He has 7 months. He is at whole cake. So let me tell y'all about,
I'm
like,
slacking.
nigga, I need you to get to Wano so I can talk to you about it. I need some other niggas to get to Wano so I can gush about the shit I'm seeing right now. But no.
One Piece got me when Lucky Roo shot someone while they were still eating.
Lucky Roo was shorter than Shanks.
Yeah.
If you look at the old, he was shorter, and then in the when he showed up at Marine 4, yep, lost sleep, baby. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna hype up One Piece where I can. Watch it if you ever, dude. Look, if you haven't seen One Piece yet, I'm gonna do the obligatory thing. Go and watch it. And if you get the memes and people tell you the memes, and this is for actually anything, don't follow suit just because somebody says it sucks. Go formulate your own opinion on it, and at least to say you tried it, your best shot. And it's hard to not let opinions of people that you follow impact your viewing and listening experience for anything. But at least with One Piece, man, there's so much there that even if I were to spoil things, there's so much to this story that I promise you'll still be caught off guard with. And so, you have an adventure in front of you. It's one of the best things you could read. It is literally like, I have to put a caveat in this. It is my favorite shonen. Like it is. I mean, plain and simple, it is. That said, is it the best shonen? Nah, Hunter x Hunter is so good. Hunter x Hunter is great.
You see that tree?
Hunter x Hunter is really good.